Howdy folks, this is Big Sam. I normally wouldn't be sitting in this location because this is in fact a known rattlesnake den. But thankfully, we're filming this out here in January, so I don't have any rattlesnakes to show you. But what I do have is this, a Mosin PU Sniper. And I wanted to make a quick video today talking about the 5 reasons you need to buy one of these rifles in 2022. And I thought it'd be pretty fitting because I think a lot of people don't quite realize this, but this gun in its form, the Mosin PU Sniper, was actually adopted in 1942. So this year, this gun is turning 80 years old. Not this particular one, because it was produced in 1944, but the PU Sniper itself is now an 80-year-old design. And so I want to do a couple videos this year to sort of honor this. And the first one we're going to be doing is talking about why you need to buy one of these and why you need one of these in your life. So 5 reasons. Reason number 1, this really cool bent bolt handle right here. So almost every Mosin you're going to encounter is going to have this straight bolt handle like that. And while it's pretty neat, I actually really like having the straight bolt handle. Almost every single Mosin is going to have that. So one of the things that makes these guys really unique are these bent bolt handles that these PU Snipers have. And you can see it's way longer than your standard bolt, way longer. And it's really handy. Just sort of using this, you get a lot more leverage, and it's just kind of cool. It's really fun to play around with. I strongly urge you to, if you've never had the chance to handle one of these. These are just something fun and really different in the world of Mosins. So I really enjoy getting to put some rounds downrange with one of these and just getting to play with it. It's just a cool piece of history, and it's really fun. All right, so PU Snipers have this really cool, super handy bent bolt handle. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is going to be an investment, though. So let's say you're worried about the inflation currently, as a lot of people are. The economy is going crazy. Hard assets are really going up in price. Real estate, gold, even collectible firearms like this one. Even in the past, we've seen these guys go up in value, but as of right now, everything's sort of going crazy, especially these rifles. So if you look around 10 years ago what these rifles were, well, they've gone up in price quite a bit, and they're going to continue to go up. If you look around at all of the other important military sniper rifles, kind of like this one, especially from World War II, they're all just fantastic, stupendous amounts of money. And that's because sniper rifles are just really cool. Mosins, especially the PU Snipers like this one, are pretty, I would say, undervalued. Now, this is what we would consider to be the most common military sniper rifle probably out there that you can buy, especially from World War II. But there's a caveat that comes with that. While this is probably the most common rifle, I would say this is the most historically significant rifle. Just looking at how this rifle was used and where it was used and what this went through in World War II makes this an extremely significant rifle. But as we're going to see in point number 5, it's not just World War II. Okay, so number 1, bent bolt handle. Number 2, the investment. This is going to be a fantastic investment if you pick up one of these. Number 3 is going to be the sniper grade barrels. What exactly am I talking about there? A sniper grade barrel. Well, let's take a closer look. So what exactly is a sniper grade barrel? Well, it's something really unique to this gun and something we don't really talk about enough amongst the Mosin community, and I just don't think it's really well documented enough. So to help clear up some misinformation, there's a little, I guess like we kind of call it a wives' tale, that the Mosin is a garbage rod, and They just weren't really all that accurate. The Soviets didn't care about accuracy. They didn't have standards, and the PUs, they just sort of hobbled together off of just whatever most accurate rifles they could come across. Now, that's a wives' tale, but unfortunately, it gets a little bit confusing. But the thing to note about wives' tales, a lot of them are based on a nugget of truth. There is a little bit of nugget of truth there. With Mosin sniper rifles, not the PU, but sniper rifles, specifically the PEM sniper rifle, which is before this, they actually kind of did that. And the reason is because the Tula factory before World War II was the only factory that actually produced these sniper rifles. And they actually had to evacuate in 1941 because the Nazis were getting too close. So they had no sniper production. So then the Ijevsk factory started producing sniper rifles. But they had never done it before. And they couldn't really do it that well. So what they did was just, for a short time, take the most accurate rifles they had and put scopes on them. Now, that being said, they still had very strict standards for accuracy. So while it's easy to look at that and say, well, they just weren't very good because they couldn't, build them custom. They just took what they had. They did, but they were still sniper rifles and they were still accurate. Okay, that rant out of the way. The PU is a different bird altogether. The PU sniper rifles, every single one of these basically had a special made barrel that was made in a separate production process than the standard PU or the standard 9130 barrels. So if we look at this guy here, we can see this guy was produced by the Ijevsk factory in 1944, and the marking to note is going to be this marking right here. Now that is an accuracy proof mark, and that tells us that this barrel was made on a whole separate assembly line than your standard 9130 barrel was. And this way they were able to really better control the tolerances of things like the rifling and the width and the twist rate and stuff like that. And also just the outer dimensions of the barrel profile as well. They were able to spend a little bit more time because they had a dedicated crew making these barrels. So these are actually really accurate guns, and this really is another cool thing that sets these rifles apart from their standard 9130 counterpart. So that's one of the reasons that a real one is a little bit different than a fake one, or a normal 9130 that someone just put a scope on. Now don't worry, because we're going to look at all the cool markings and what differentiates these in our PU Sniper buyer's guide. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so we've got our bed bolt handles, number 1. Number 2 is the investment. Number 3 is these cool sniper grade barrels. What about number 4? Well, for number 4, we're going to go with durability. That's right. Any Soviet adopted rifle is guaranteed to be pretty durable. And that's because the Soviets had a little bit of a different rating and grading system for firearms than a lot of other people did. Why, some people put fit and finish at the top, and not to say they didn't put durability near the top. You would see things like the Mauser Kar-98, which is, I think, in many cases, you could argue is a more durable gun than this, especially when it comes to things like mud, maybe. The Soviets would do a really nice balance of cost with durability. If you balance out the cost and durability with this compared to something like a Kar-98, you're going to get a much better balance with this because the cost is going to be much less. The Soviets didn't care nearly as much about things like fit and finish as the Germans, and rightfully so, especially in this time frame where they're trying to hang on for their dear lives and they need to produce millions of rifles per year. So in order to do that, you have to be able to cut a few corners with things like fit and finish. But the thing has to work, and it has to be simple. That's what I love about this gun. It's simple. There's not a lot to go wrong with this gun. If you clean it and you take care of it, this gun is just going to keep working and keep running for you. I mean, look at this gun. It almost looks brand new, and this has gone through some not great things probably in World War II. This particular rifle was given to Yugoslavia as aid, probably in 1944. So this was probably used by the Yugoslavian partisans. And it looks brand new. I mean, I can't even really tell, unless you told me what this gun was, what it went through. Still functions flawlessly. The bolt, this is actually the original bolt, feels just spot on. Absolutely fantastic. And the optic, you can see is just beautiful on this gun. This optic was actually made in 1943. The PUs are just fantastic optics, which brings us into our last point. So up until now, right, just another recap, we've got our bent bolt handle, number one. Number two is the investment. These things are also investments. Number three, those sniper grade barrels. Number four, that just Soviet tough as nails durability. Number five is that this gun is actually still relevant today. This gun has been basically in continual use since its inception in 1942, which is really amazing, especially considering this gun and this design was 51 years old when the PU Sniper came about, this action, the Mosin, because it was developed in 1891 is when it was actually adopted. So it's sort of an ancient gun when it was produced, and 80 years later, it's kind of hard to argue that it's still not an ancient gun, but it still works. It still does what it's intended, which is to be a durable, cost-effective sniper rifle. It's accurate. These guns are notoriously very accurate, especially the real ones. And I just don't have enough nice things to say about them. And these guns are fantastic pieces of history. But unlike a lot of cool collectible pieces, these things work. You can take these things out to the range, put a bunch of rounds downrange, and not worry about, messing up your investment. You're not going to hurt one of these rifles. I mean, these things are just built to last and built to work. These things are workhorses. So even in places like Syria and probably still in the Ukraine today, we see guns like this still in existence. But even before that, we Americans found out in places like Korea and Vietnam that it's really not that fun to be on the business end of one of these rifles. Now you can mock all you want about how this is some antique, obsolete rifle until someone starts putting some rounds downrange pointed in your direction, and quite accurately so. You're going to stop complaining that this is an obsolete rifle once that happens. It just tends to be how the world works, unfortunately. So in the right hands, this is a very, very effective weapon. Okay, so we've gone through 5 reasons why I think you guys need to buy one of these rifles. Now, I mentioned this before, if it's real, there's a lot of fakes of these rifles out there. Now, one of the ways you can really get into these and know you're getting a real gun is actually to buy a normal 9130, which is called an X-Sniper. Now, those had the Soviets actually plug the sniper holes in the side of the receivers. If you're buying one of those, you know you're actually buying a real legitimate sniper rifle. And you don't have to go through the whole worries of, is this marking right? Is this marking right? Is this actually a real gun, or did somebody just put this together? So that's one way. Now, if you really want to buy one in this configuration that is real, I am going to be putting out a complete buyer's guide to the Mosin 9130 PU Sniper. So that's going to be something to look out for. And that's really going to help you figure out if the sniper rifle that you have or you're looking to purchase is legitimate. Now, a lot of people shy away from these because there are so many fakes out there. But going back to the investment, what's really nice about this gun is if you know what to look for, and you will once you watch our buyer's guide on this rifle, it's actually pretty easy to tell if it's real or fake. With some of the Nazi guns, it can be really difficult to tell if it's real or fake. with these, even though there's a lot of fakes, if you know what to look for, you don't have a thing to worry about because you're gonna be able to figure it out and make a sound purchase decision. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope this gets you excited about potentially purchasing a Mosin PU Sniper for yourself. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for our buyer's guide. Let me know if y'all have any prayer requests, and we'll see you next time.